ignore the breakout. Yeah, I'm not a fan either, but it's whatever. Yo, what's up, guys? I've been wanting to make this video for a while now. I've been really keen on telling stories because I think it's fun, you know. Hopefully, I like telling them. Maybe you like listening to them. Whatever. I decided to do this one because I've been big movie guy, as you might know. So with that comes a lot of varying experiences. As much as I would like to tell you about my favorite ones, I was just like, no, that's not an interesting video at all. So here we are, the worst movie experiences I have unfortunately been a part of. Alright, story number one. I think this was during middle school. During the summer, I was a part of a sort of summer camp program. We would go to a park and hang out at the park, and then would do a couple activities outside of the park. We'd go to a swimming pool, or we'd go to a museum, you know. So on every Tuesday we would go to a movie theater to see a movie, because those Tuesdays basically they have these movies that were super discounted. I think tickets were maybe $2. Most of the time they had pretty banging movies. I remember they had How to Train Your Dragon and The Iron Giant. I don't remember them ever showing a bad movie. Except for this one time. They were gonna show Trolls. I remember seeing it on the schedule. So I'm like, oh my god. Why do I gotta see this freaking movie? Because I was honestly expecting the worst. Spoiler alert, the movie's actually not that bad. But before I even saw it, I was just like, oh great, I'm gonna have the worst day of my life. So anyways, the day comes, we go into the movie theater. I sit around my friends, you know, the people that, you know, aren't interested. We sit in the way back. You know, this the movie theater, right? We're right here. We're just get this away from us. We were the quiet group. We were just judging everybody for liking this. You laughed at that joke? Are you 2? Anyways, a bit towards the end of the movie, you probably know where I'm going if you've ever seen this. They have the big, oh my god, I'm sorry, but they have the big emotional scene, you know, where I guess just I'll call him Branch, forget it. So they have their big talking back, and the girl goes, why won't you sing? Branch hits you with, because singing killed my grandma! No, I actually have to watch the scene. I can't.
Why won't you sing? Because singing killed my grandma, okay?
Ah, oh my god. So honestly now, I think that moment is just hilarious. Back then, I didn't find it funny because I was so flabbergasted. I couldn't even laugh. I was just shocked. I was like, did he really say that? And then my friend right next to me, after he says it, turns to me and goes, what? Again, I find it funny now, but if I laughed or giggled after that, I would look like an asshole. I bet all the counselors would just turn to me and go, did you laugh? Did you laugh at singing killed my grandma? And that's not it. You gotta get to the best moment where freaking the pink girl just breaks out into the, you know, singing the Justin Timberlake song, you know, the reason the movie exists. The fact that she sings it is bad enough. What's even worse is one of my camp counselors that was sitting in the front row all of a sudden decides to stand up and then start dancing. And then before I know it, half of the theater starts dancing and all the counselors too. And I'm like, is this real life? Oh my days. Dude, I get it. Half of the summer camp is kids under the age of 8, but still, Do you have any dignity? So anyways, that was the Trolls experience. Alright, story number 2. I wanted to talk about this during one of my reviews of a movie. That movie being Spider-Man No Way Home. This is leaps and bounds the worst experience I ever had. Okay, so it's opening day for Spider-Man No Way Home, okay? It's a big freaking deal, okay? Like, even like more so than like the Avengers movies, which I was just like, okay, that's weird. So, the theater that my family wanted to go to, oh, by the way, my whole family went, you knew it was real shit when my whole family went to a movie. We wanted to go to this theater that was close by, but every ticket was sold out on opening day. Every single one. And if we went on Saturday, we all could have risked, you know, seeing spoilers, as if I didn't hear about a couple, like, sorry. So then my dad's like, oh, let's go to another theater that's not so busy. You know, the level of, like, busy was, like, here, and then we, like, decided to switch theaters, and it went, like, there. So it made no difference, but at least we got to see it on opening day. So we go to this theater in like a mall, like, I don't know, like 20 miles away from home. The mall that we went to, I don't want to sound mean, okay, but it was a shithole. It was a total shithole. This mall really had no right to exist, but the fact that it exists is just no. Okay, so we go into the theater in the mall, okay. The theater is shockingly like the almost like pleasing thing about the entire mall. So we go into the theater room and it was horrendous. First off, I mean, like the size, like the width of the theater wasn't even like that bad. Like, I don't know, it was like a little bit more tinier than like most normal theaters that you might be used to. But that's not where it gets bad, okay? There are way too many seats. Like, there's like a dozen rows with like a dozen seats. It's just so compact. It's like, how is this even allowed? And because the theater room was like so small, like the screen was like here, and like the first row of seats were like, I don't know, like a foot away, which is like, no thank you. So we get into our seats, right? The seats themselves are horrible. The worst part about them is their spacing, okay? You know how like normal theaters have like, I don't know, at least like an arm length in between like each seat, you know, like maybe like this much. Like, that's perfectly fine. I'm gonna show you how much spacing they had between the seats. It was like this. It was like this. To make it even worse, guess what? Shared armrests. Like this was a freaking plane. I was like sitting in a plane seat, basically. The seats themselves, they don't recline at all. They're just, you try to like, and they don't move. They don't move at all. So you have this freaking stiff seat, and you have no space. I was sitting next to two adults, so I was just like, so like, all that aside, okay, because we went at like such like a weird time, we didn't have time to like eat dinner before we went. So thankfully they had this menu option, you know, like you can like dine and eat at a theater, which is pretty sick, by the way. You should try it if you haven't. So we get like our like meals, okay. Okay, keep this in mind. Me and my brother share a plate of like chicken strips. So we eat before the movie starts. The movie starts. If you know how No Way Home, like, the movie's sick, okay? The movie's sick. We have a good time with the movie, okay? Yes, the theater itself wasn't great, but the movie was good, so it just cancels out. So that's where it ends, right? No. After the movie ends, we go home. My brother decides to go to a friend's house, have a sleepover, you know how younger brothers are. So anyway, we get home, we like relax a bit and try and head to bed, you know, like normal people. all of a sudden, as I'm trying to sleep, my stomach just feels off. I'm like, the heck's going on? I didn't feel like ill. It just like felt like some kind of like knot. So I tried to like go to sleep, but I couldn't because my stomach was acting up. So at one point I was like, what do? I get out of bed, I go talk to my mom, right? I tell my mom about it. Next thing you know, I go to the toilet and throw up. Guess what? Food poisoning. Food poisoning from the freaking chicken strips. It's bad enough. The freaking theater itself, the seats, the room, freaking almost everything sucks. The food can't even be good because it makes me freaking sick.
I forgot to mention this, but after my brother came home from his sleepover, he told me that he also threw up in the middle of the night, which only confirmed my suspicion of food poisoning. So I decided to sue the mall. Nah, I'm just kidding. I burnt it down.
Like how difficult is it to not freaking contaminate food and send it out? Like, freaking, oh my god. But fun times all around, I guess. Alright, third and final story. So as you may know, right, I just finished up my freshman year in college, you know, like, living that, just me life, whatever. So because, you know, I'm away from home, I have to go to another place for movies. Thankfully, there was like a theater like, I don't know, like maybe a couple miles away from campus for me. I was like, oh, sick. And that's where I would regularly go because it's the closest. Like the theater itself isn't like fantastic, you know, but I don't know, I kind of like, it's like a bit cozy, more cozy, you know, it's not, you know, like fancy and all that stuff. Reminds me of the old times. But like the biggest problem with this theater is that the theater rooms itself vary drastically. Like a good half of them are like normal, okay? You know, you have like the row of seats, you have the screen, you know, it's fine. But then you have a couple of bad apples. I went to go see Ant-Man Quantumania. The theater I went to was so bizarre. You know how like seats have like incline? This room had no incline. It was this. And it was completely flat on the floor and all the seats were there. And then you have the screen which is like propped up like this. So no matter where you're sitting, you always have to look up like this. Like, what? Whose idea was that? Another thing that's true about every theater room in there, they don't have lights. They have no lights. You know, like the little hallway you go into when you reach you know how that has lights so you know where the F you're going? None. None! I went to go see the Mario movie. I went through this freaking creepy ass hallway with no lights. I'm just walking, and for a split second, I see like a guy's outline of his head in the pitch black darkness, and I move, like, instantly. Because if I didn't, I would have just ran into him. And he's just like, oh, snap, I'm sorry about that, I couldn't see you. I'm like, me too. Someone should install some lights. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Maybe I'll do another video like this with stories about my freshman year at college. I have plenty of fun ones. Arguably, yeah, they're better than the ones I've given you. I don't know better than the Spider-Man one, but you know, what you gonna do? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.